If you've been watching Oklahoma Gardening this season, you know that we've been following Katie Stenmark and her PhD research on hop production and the potential of hop production here in Oklahoma. So we've left the field and we're now in your lab here on campus. So tell us a little bit about the lab process of your research.
Welcome, Casey, to the Noble Research Center. After we get the hops from the field, we bring them on into here and we seal them under nitrogen and put them in little vacuum sealed bags. And we then can store them frozen until we are ready to analyze them.
Okay, so that just sort of preserves them until you're ready to use them.
Yep, preserves them and stores their acid content, keeps them nice and safe until we're ready to extract them.
All right, so you've opened up a bag of that sealed hops for us, and it looks just as if you harvested them the other day, right?
Yes, so we've got our vacuum sealed bag right here. I've opened up this bag and prepared my mortar and pestle to create a nice fine grind. And so I just use my elbow work and I grind up the hop cones to a very fine powder. After I grind them to a nice fine powder, I then weigh them out, get a nice specific measurement on the weight, and then I will add a extraction solution.
Okay.
We use a 0.1% formic acid in methanol.
Okay.
So that's an acidified methanol that will help us extract those acids from the hop cones, the ground hop cones.
Okay, so basically the chemistry is at work here and we're trying to get some acids extracted out of there so you can get a reading. So after doing a little more with it, what do you do after that, after you weigh it and add that extract?
So after extracting for a short period of time, I'm then going to spin down all of that particulate in a centrifuge.
Okay.
After I spin down the particulate, I will then take that clear liquid extract from the top of the vial and move it on over to another container. This new container is where I will then prepare this sample to be put on the high performance liquid chromatography machine.
Okay, so at that point you've left the powder, right, in the old solution, and you've just got the acids out of the hops, right? And so then we go to this fancy machine that I don't even understand at all, but basically there's a reading that comes out of it?
Correct. So this HPLC is going to take a liquid sample and analyze those compounds from the sample and tell me in a chromatogram, a picture form, exactly what the concentration in that sample is.
Okay.
And we use that to calculate back to our dry basis here, exactly what the acid content is here versus what was in our sample we injected.
Okay, and so how do you know? So basically we're ultimately getting a number of your alpha acids and your beta acids, which mean good and bad things about hops, right?
Right.
So tell us, what are you kind of looking for? What's the market looking for? Or do you compare that to what the market has? Are there standards, I guess?
Right. So how I know what I'm looking for is I ordered some standards from the American Society of Brewing Chemists.
Okay.
These standards are alpha beta acids in their purest form. I can then use that alpha and beta acid standard in the purest form to compare what my alpha and betas are.
Okay.
And that tells me their quality. I can then look at some commercial cultivars and compare even further on a cultivar basis of the hops to determine how these Oklahoma hops are doing.
All right, so the closer we are to those commercial standards, the better off we are, right?
Basically, yes.
So do we have any data at this point to kind of say where we're at with that, or?
Yeah, so I have ran some data, and this would be from our harvest last year. Some of the things that we look for in the hops are obviously that alpha and beta acid content, but their storage index. So how well have they stored over time? Have there been any degradation to the acids and that sort of thing? So I can look at that by comparing my data from last year to what I can see in the commercial industry. Basically what we're seeing is that the acids are a little bit lower. The hop storage index is very good. So they're storing really well.
That's good news.
They're only
yeah.
a year old, but their acid content is probably a little lower, maybe even a little all over the place, because we have an establishing hop yard.
Right. They're young plants.
They're young plants.
Okay. Okay. So
So-
maybe that'll level off as we get more of a harvest on mature plants coming in.
Yeah, more maturity means hopefully more stability for us, but we're just going to keep monitoring that as we go.
Well, Katie, thank you so much for sharing this. I think it's really fascinating because I know as a horticulturist, I often think about a crop and whether it can environmentally grow in Oklahoma, but you're looking at the whole process and there's so much more to it. Storage and whether the product is just going to be usable later on or not. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you for being here.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.